Hi, welcome to this video. My name is Lutz Schon, Product Manager at EMOS for Manufacturing Solutions. And today I want to show you our brand new product, iX Scout. iX Scout is part of a larger product family we are currently developing for online services called iX Share. And iX Scout is the first building block in this series to be finished. Although the idea has been around for a number of years, we really started working on iX Scout in 2019. We did a rough concept. We started with a market research, trying to match the customer's requirements with our own ideas. And so we visited customers and came back with a number of inquiries. One of them was to extend the EMOS model from the point of sales to machine all the way to the on-site installation, so to provide quality data to the installation crew at the end consumer site. Next would be communication on several layers, office to production, production workers amongst each other, and then in a more global fashion, the manufacturer to the installation crew on site. First of all, the quality of information was one topic. And second of all, the efficiency of communication. Efficiency, what I mean by that is no worker in the plant should go back to the office or should have to go back to the office just to ask a small detailed question about a drawing. That should be handled in a more efficient way. Keeping information up to date was one more inquiry we took from the field, meaning if there is a change request from a customer during the production process, it's always a hassle to retrieve all the old drawings, reprint, publish new material, and avoid mistakes in that process. So this is one thing we wanted to task with this new solution. And lastly, not so much of an issue, but more of an inquiry, we brought back that paper does have some advantages over digital solutions, and one of them being drawing or taking notes about details, meaning if I have a conversation with a colleague and I want to make sure he understands what I mean, it's easy to take a pen and just draw a circle around a small detail. Or if we think about a scenario where I want to check off something I already finished, just to keep track of my progress, that's something that paper can do quite good. So we want to keep that functionality. So our main goal and target with iX Scout would be to display order information in an intuitive and easy to use interface, to provide direct communication between iX Scout members, to keep information up to date, fast and reliable, and to get rid of all printed drawings, large plots, lists, etc. All that makes up the thick folder, the job folder, and replace it with an online-based solution. So let me show you in a quick demonstration how that will look like in real life. What we see here is sort of the landing page in iX Scout. This is the order overview. In here, each tile represents one order. We can retrieve all the information about the order by expanding the tile using the properties button here. We see order and customer data if needed. And we can sort this list by multiple options here. If I say last updated, for instance, I can rearrange the whole situation here. If I want to retrieve specific information, I can also utilize the search function here. I can just type in whatever content is present and it will give me the result needed. Most importantly, this is the start page for the navigation. So from here I can access all the other components within the application, starting with the viewer page. The 3D viewer page gives me, first of all, a 3D model of the whole construction. Down here in the bottom, I have a navigation menu. I can influence the visibility of walls, for instance. If I pick a part or an article, I can isolate it, hide it, or I can toggle into an X-ray mode. This could be very helpful for assembly, for instance. On the left-hand side here, we have the tree view. The tree view represents the content of the order, very similar to what we know from the Explorer in EMOS CAD. And here it's basically exactly the same way from all the way to the top from the article. Next we have a list of assemblies within the article, and within the assemblies then hardware, single parts, and in the part material, edges and surfaces. If we provide CNC data also, then of course this is part of the single parts as well. As you can see here, these two areas communicate with each other. So if I pick a part in the 3D viewer, it's going to be highlighted in the tree view, and vice versa. If I pick something in the tree view, it's going to highlight it and pick it in the 3D model. On the right hand side here we have the properties sidebar. The properties sidebar doesn't really interact with the other two. It just follows whatever is selected and gives me all the information about that selection. So if I select an article here, for instance, it gives me a list of properties from the article. If I select a single part, I will get all the information about a part. On the top portion here we can see a small preview of whatever content is sent with that item that's available for articles and single parts. And here, for instance, we have a document manager, output, and our edge drawing here. And if I click on it, it's going to enlarge in an overlay and give me all the details I need. In here I can zoom in, I can pan around and navigate exactly to that information I need. So here we have the first function of paper we were talking about earlier. We have the markup function that gives us a selection of a red marker or a text marker. And depending on which we select, we can either mark or highlight something. And if we want to use this for a basis for communication, we can use the share button and use the integrated chat functionality to send it to our colleagues to ask something, to clarify something about this detail. The chat functionality is embedded not only in this overlay here. If I close this down again, I can see the sidebar on the right hand side here is divided into two portions. We have the properties portion, and then we have the chat right behind it. And if I activate the chat, I see all the communication about that particular part I just selected. So if I don't select anything, you can see that little indicator jumps to 10, meaning there is 10 items within this order that have communication. As for the navigation, this would be a bit tricky in a productive environment. So in a productive environment, we want a fast and easy navigation. And for that, we have the scan button down here. So instead of going through and navigating our way through by hand, we can just simply hit the scan button. That will activate the device camera. And let me show you in a quick live demonstration how that works. As noted earlier, we reduce our paperwork to a label on a part and a device that reads the QR code and displays all the information. So all we need to do in a productive environment is activate the scanning functionality from any random order. So if a part comes along, I don't really have to access any order. I just activate the scanning functionality, match the search box with the QR code, and it's going to load first of all the order and then the part in the order and give me all the information needed right at hand. So what we can do here to display a larger area, we can click on the sidebars and maximize the 3D area. And that way you can see we got all the information we needed just after scanning. Next up is the list page. The list page provides us a number of useful lists for a productive environment, all the way from cutting, edge bending to purchase parts and articles. And this page gives us not only information but some functionality as well. On the left hand side here, as an example in the cutting list, we see our quick filters. And these quick filters are present in most lists, but with a different content, of course, but depending on the list we're in. And one scenario, for example, is we are the person on the saw. We receive a specific material we want to cut. So by using the quick filter, I can reduce the list to whatever I have at hand and reduce the information to what I really need. Second portion of the paper functionality here is the checkbox functionality. So as mentioned before, if I want to document my progress here, I can, after finishing these parts, just hit this button here and basically show for myself where I stand and which parts are finished already. The last button here is again navigation to the 3D, so it all boils down to the visual context of the information at hand. For this, I think it's more useful to go to the purchase parts. So imagine you have an item, for instance, a piece of hardware, you need to know where it belongs to. Let's take the handles, for example. We can navigate back to our 3D viewer and it will show us exactly where these items go. This is extremely useful for assembly. Next in line is the dialog page. The dialog page contains two areas. On the top half here we can see our attachments. So attachments means the person who uploads the order to iXScout has a possibility to extend the content from EMOS-based data to basically whatever we want to provide to the crew on site or in production. Meaning everything that can be opened on a device like PDF, any sort of images can be stored there, will be automatically uploaded and then placed in this area here. And then if we click one of these, we can retrieve and open this attachment here. And here we see it's, for instance, an assembly instruction for the hood. On the bottom half of the screen, we see our chat system. So everything from the other areas where I can actually send a message, like our 3D viewer or the image component, but basically comes together right here, and each context gets one tile. Meaning if I have the door left here, for instance, and I write a comment to a colleague, this will open one of these channels here and open one of these tiles, and by clicking on the tile I can see all the information and all the conversation within this specific item here. I can then either use the comment button to answer to the last message, or I can use the preview button if I'm not sure which item is really the one that is meant here. I can use the preview button to navigate back to the 3D viewer, and then I'm really sure which item is the context of the conversation. Last but not least, station views. Station views gives us the possibility to customize the view of everything we just saw. So meaning I can put together my own view as a iXScout user. To show you an example here, I created a view for assembly. In assembly, I don't necessarily use the information about each and every single part, but I want to know how to put together a piece of furniture. So the 3D viewer here, for instance, reacts not only to the single part, but regardless of which part of a unit I choose, it's always going to highlight the entire article. On the right-hand side here, I have a list of all the parts contained in the article, as well as all the hardware used within the article. So how is this done? If I quickly show you the setup here, I can first of all choose a number of layouts here. Once I choose a layout, I can fill it with content. If I click here, you can see I can choose the component I want to fill in. And if I go to this here, for instance, I can then create content showing details about the selection. As a second example here, we have the edge bending station. On here we click on a part, we see our preview showing us the transitions of the edges. And then up here we have a small list showing us by sequence which edge to apply to which edge. So, I hope you enjoyed my brief presentation of the new product and could also see some of the features for yourself and see how you could use them. iX Scout will be available as of 2022. Till then, thank you very much for your time and stay safe.